We had some time between hockey games today, so we figured we'd melt down some old candles and make some of our homemade Egg Carton Firestarters. Step one is getting the candles melting, because it takes quite a while for them to melt. Alright, you could do this with paraffin wax, but lots of folks have old candles lying around that aren't getting used anymore, so that's what we use, and somehow we seem to keep inheriting more. To melt the candles, we use an old pot. I'm not even sure where we got it from, but it's not one of the ones we normally cook with. But to help keep the wax from then burning to the bottom of the pot, we fill a frying pan with water and let that boil and use that heat to melt the wax. As with anything else you're cooking, if you keep the lid on it, it just helps melt that faster. To set up the egg cartons, we take old wicks, which we actually get from melted down the candles in the first place, cut pieces and stick them in there. And then we fill it up either with dryer lint, which you can see just a little bit of here, or, because we usually don't have enough dryer lint around, we'll use wood chips that are left over from the rabbit or hamsters or guinea pig. Obviously, if you got wood chips from the workshop too, that works great. Okay, if you don't have enough candle wicks to fill all your egg cartons, then the other thing I'll use for wicks sometimes is binder twine. Probably won't work great for real candles, but it works just fine here. And all we're looking for from the wick is just to have enough sticking out, give us something to help light it. The egg cartons themselves actually do a pretty good job of wicking the wax up and working as a candle too. But having that little bit of wick sticking out just makes it a little easier to light them when you're ready to use them.
Once you have the wax fully melted, then we just pour it into the egg cartons. I usually fill them up pretty full. You could fill them up a bit less if you wanted to, and they'd still work pretty good. But figure if I'm going to use a fire starter, I might as well make it a decent size, so I got lots of time to get that wood dried out and the fire going.
Here's a fire starter we made up probably a couple years ago. We tend to make them in a batch. When you're ready to use it, it's easy to just rip off a piece from the egg carton and use that. You will see that the wax has soaked through the egg carton a bit, but generally it doesn't leak out too much. But just in case, that's why we keep the newspaper on the table while we're making these.